Hi, Kathryn here with Handmade by Circle Art Designs. On my work table today, I will be working on another of the July Bargain Bead Box projects. This will be a single loop dangle earrings in a antique bronze, the picture jasper, and the lovely red jasper. So let's turn our eyes to the mat and get started. So as I turn my eyes to the mat and brush it off, I am simply grateful for so many things in my life. But the one thing that really stands out for this week is we still have no car. And I would think that that would be a real problem. But the Lord has blessed us with solutions for both of these weeks. And the solution he gave us to get to home group this week was to go with a couple that came over and picked us up and took us to home group and then brought us back home. I laughed so much. We had I had more fun in the car going over there and coming back than I did at home group. And home group is an amazing blessing. So I am simply grateful for our friends in home group that came and picked us up and then brought us home, and the laughter and joy it brought me. Thank you, Father. I am simply grateful for that. How about you? What are you simply grateful for today? All right, let's continue and get this mat straightened out. So the first thing I'm going to do is find the center. It's always a guessing game of the mat, so I know exactly where to put my pen. All right, I think that looks about straight for this time. And so let's gather up the things that we're going to need. Now this is that matte picture jasper in a 6mm, and I love that matte finish on these. It gives it such a natural look. I really, really like them. But then next up, we're going to use this beautiful red jasper. We have used that in several of them, and I think they are just beautiful. Next up on the mat. So both of these are from the Bargain Bead Box. I forgot to say that. I'm bringing out my antique bronze in these beautiful little 3mm spacer balls. I will be so sad if Amazon ever quits taking or carrying this set of bronze, copper, gold, and silver. Now, I have also pulled out from a previous Jessie James these little dangles, but I ended up not using them. When I put them on, I tried them in several places, and for me, it just seemed too busy. These are my large loops in the antique bronze. They are really huge jump rings, and I just love them. I believe they are the 10mm. Then I have some antique bronze eye pins that I've pulled out, and some of the antique bronze in the head pins. We'll set those to one side. And let's see, have I gotten it? Oh no, we need some small jump rings to put these earrings together. And I'm going to use, I think, this mixture of antique bronze, copper, and gold. And then, of course, my bronze fish hooks that are nickel free. Yay! Okay, so let's see. Let's get started. So I am starting out with an eye pin because the first thing I'm showing you is if you want to use that orangey brown tassel, and this I got from Jessie James, but I'm sure you can get it other places. You're going to need to start with an eye pin, and my eye pins are slightly smaller. So we're going to start out with the 3mm bronze. And then I am going to put on 3 of these little 11-0, and this is a copper bronze mix. As I said, it is from a store in our area, and they put it in little baggies, so I have no idea where it came from, but I really love it. I've used it for quite a few things. And then I'm going to put on this 6x4 millimeter red rainbow jasper. I call it just red jasper, and it is also from the Bargain Bead Box, and I had trouble with the first one dropping, so I'm putting another one on. And then the 6 millimeter picture jasper in that mat. And as I said, I really love the mat. We got to go to Utah a few years ago, and what I remember, and the Grand Canyon for that matter, and I remember all the beautiful lines and colors, and that's what this reminds me of, and I just love it. And another of that red rainbow jasper. And then I start out with 5 beads. First I put on another one of the 3 millimeter. And then I start out with 5 of the 11-0 seed beads. And because this is going to be the center, once I look at it, I go ahead and put on another 3. Now remember, this is for the earrings if you're using that little 1-inch tassel. And so I'm going to go ahead and put on a total of 8. Let's see if I can get all these on without them falling all over creation. Because that's sometimes what happens. And that's what that is going to look like right there. And let me get a picture. So again, if you're using the earrings and you want to put that 2-step dangle, which is a dangle and then another dangle, you're going to want to put it on an eye pin. And if you look at the picture, we have the 3 millimeter spacer. We have 3 of the 11-0s, a 3 millimeter spacer, then the 6x4 millimeter jasper, the 6 millimeter jasper, the 6x4 millimeter jasper, another 3 millimeter spacer ball, and then a total of 8 of the 11-0s. Remember, the eye pin is not as long as the head pins I will be using later, but this allows you to have a loop on both sides so that both ends, so that you can put that little 1-inch dangle on. Alrighty, let's get back to what we were doing. Alright, so now then we're going to take our straight nose pliers and we're going to decide how big we want our loop to be. And I'm about 1/4 of the way up, and with little turns, I'm just turning that loop down until it touches or almost touches the straight of the wire. Then I'm going to take my chain nose and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to mash it closed just like that, I hope. Okay, just like that. Now once I get it closed, I'm going to take the straight nose again and I'm pulling it into that little question mark shape so that my loop will hang right over my beads and my dangle will hang straight. And while I am kind of fiddling with this little thing and getting it to hang straight and be closed, would you take a moment to please like and leave a comment for this video? And if you haven't subscribed yet to our channel, would you please consider subscribing? And if you do, click that notification button so that you know when we put up new content. And if you would share this video with someone, it would be a real blessing for me. Thank you so much. All right, so I've taken 2 chain nose pliers and I have straightened up the middle chain. What I have done is I want my loops to be in the same plane. So I turn them so that they're the same direction. And again, this is the center if you want to use a 1-inch tassel, and it'll look something like that. And I think this is beautiful. It was just too busy for me, for my taste. If I was putting this on a necklace, I would absolutely go for this. Or if I had shortened it and made it just up to the second red jasper, I would have used this. But as it was just too long and too busy for my taste. Now, my daughter would wear that in a heartbeat. So it's really up to you what you like. So if you're going to do this, you would put it on as with a jump ring on the bottom, and then this would become a two-step dangle. You would have your centerpiece, your first step dangle, and then a second step dangle. But what I am going to do for the earrings I'm putting up in the shop is I am going to end up not doing a two-step dangle. But I wanted to give you this option because it's a beautiful option. And, you know, everybody's taste is just slightly different. Now, I have a little 4mm jump ring up that I am going to put this on with. When I open up my jump ring, I hold it between two chain nose pliers, and then I'm only going to twist one wrist. The other wrist will stay stationary because, as I've said before, wire has memory. It makes a weak spot if you twist it too much, and it will untwist on you when you least expect it. All right, so I have put on my component, then I put on my tassel, then I switched to my curved nose pliers because I couldn't grasp that teeny little thing. I'm touching the top of my jump ring to make sure it's not rough, because if it's rough, then you really don't have it closed. I don't care what it looks like. If it's rough, it's not really closed. So for the dangles that go on either side of this long one, I am going to use these 2-inch head pins. I'm going to start off with a 3mm spacer ball, and then I am going to add 3 of the 11/0 seed beads. Well, let's see what I'm doing. That's what we end up with. Oh, I know why. So yes, I have added 1, 2, 3. I've actually added 5 of the seed beads, and that is because I'm playing with how long I want these outer pieces to be. Once I have done that, I put on a 3mm, then your red jasper, your picture jasper, and your red jasper. But I'm turning it around because I like the way it lays the other side. That's one thing when you're using gemstones. You have to kind of see which way they lay, which way they look the best, because sometimes they're not as flat on one side as they are on the other. So now that I'm looking at that, instead of putting a spacer ball at the top of this one, I am going ahead and I am adding some more 11/0 seed beads. Now this is the thing whenever you are designing, especially if you haven't drawn it out, which I didn't this time, or you were kind of trying to decide how long do I really want this thing. Because I made the center a 2-step dangle, then I am going to have to either be happy with the outer dangles being longer or not making a chevron. So you will see right here, I have the 5 seed beads between 2 3mm, then the jasper, the picture jasper, and the jasper. And now I have put on 4 dangles at the, 4 seed beads at the top. But when I do that, you will notice that the portion that is the real component, that jasper, had straightened itself out in a line, which is fine. But I am going for a upwards chevron, or that arrow look. So when I put on more seed beads, then it made a reverse arrow look, so that the arrow was pointing up instead of down. So I have to decide, what do I want to do? What type of a picture do I want my component in the center, those pieces of jasper, to make? So I am taking off everything except the 3mm spacer. Then I've added 3 of the 11-ohs, just like the first time, then a spacer, and then I am adding the red jasper, the picture jasper, and the red jasper. Then I'm going to go ahead and put on another 3mm spacer, and here is where I will be adding, if I add at all. And I'm back. I wanted to add a picture right here, and I had to go have some lunch. My voice was dropping, my hands were shaking, it was time to eat. All right, so this is what we have done right here. This is on a head pin. I have a 3mm spacer ball. Then I have 3 11-ohs. And then I have another spacer ball. And then I have a red jasper, the picture jasper, another red jasper, a 3mm spacer ball, and then 6 of the 11-oh seed beads with a 3mm spacer ball. And this is what I'm going to do for the outside dangles. This will be 3 dangles on that number 10 loop. Alrighty, so let's carry on. Alright, so I've got the dangle done for both sides of this earring, and I'm going to go ahead and we're going to make our loops. Now I will cut the wire so that it is about the half the width across my pointer finger, and then I'm going to take my straight nose pliers, there you go, and I'm going to I do little small turns. I have seen people that can do it in one giant turn, but that is not me. I take and I do little small turns. Then at the base, I move it back so it makes that question mark, just like you would with a looper. Then I take my chain nose pliers and I close up my loop, making sure that it is centered over the middle of the piece so it will hang straight. I'm going to do the same thing again. And I'm going to cut it. Always turn it away from you when you're cutting this so that it doesn't fly up in your face, making sure there's no end pointing out on my straight nose pliers so everything turns. Then I make little bitty turns until I get it where I want it. Then I will back it off a little bit to make a question mark, just like that. Then I will take my pliers, my chain nose pliers, and I will close it up just like that. And these will be ready to go on. Also make sure at this point that both of your dangles are hanging straight. Now then, I'm placing these to see what the chevron is going to look like. I've got them kind of skewed, so it's hard to do, but that would be a reverse chevron. And so I'm going to go ahead and make this one, making sure that that big old loop is closed, because it acts just like a jump ring. In fact, you can use these for jump rings. I'm not sure what type of project you would use them in, but you can use them in as jump rings. Now here I'm taking my fish hook ear wires and I turned it, and if you've seen any of my videos, you know that I like the earrings to face front, so I always turn it. Now when you're turning any of your ear wires, be very gentle when you turn them because they will snap. Now I'm holding a jump ring between two pliers. I'm sorry it was slightly off. My hands have decided they have forgotten where that little white dot is on my piece. But what I have done is I've opened up my jump ring. I have put on the large loop and I have put on one of the outside, and then I'm closing it up. And let's see if I ever get, there we go, kind of, if I get it in. Now what I like to do, and what I'm doing is I'm messing with this, I was messing with the hoop because it had not closed completely. Again, holding your jump ring between two chain nose pliers, twist one side, open it, go ahead and put on the middle dangle and your hoop, and then close your jump ring back up. Come on, Kathryn. I know that you will eventually look and see where that is. There you go. So that is what it's going to look like. And it's going to look like a reverse chevron. All right, we're going to open this up again, twist of one wrist, pick up your piece again, put the jump ring on the loop, and then your dangle on the jump ring and close it up. The reason I say this is you always want to have consistency when you're putting things on, so that whenever it makes a difference, you will have that habit. Now this is what it looks like when I'm using the reverse chevron and I have got the two-step dangle on it. As I said, for me, I'm really looking for a V chevron, a down chevron, not a reverse chevron where it points up. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to look and see how this looks. And because when you're in the middle of things and you have a preconceived notion of what you want it to be, you can miss something amazing. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this, and then I will give you a picture of what it looks like. I'll see you in just a moment. Okay, first of all, let me say, sorry about the less than professional pictures trying to show you how I messed with the different configurations for this tassel. On the far right side, this is the finished product with a reverse chevron. Okay, I also tried, because when I looked at the final product, I just went, it's just too much. It makes that center too long. I have to do something different with the outer dangles if I want this to be balanced. So I took it off and I looked at the possibility of putting it right up against the Picture Jasper, which would have me take off the 3mm, and this is number B, which would have me take off the 3mm spacer ball, the 3/11-0s, the spacer ball, and the red Jasper, and place it just under the Picture Jasper, which is much more balanced. And I would probably, if I was keeping this configuration, this is the way I would go. I tried, and this is actually the first thing I tried. Sorry about that. I had to get up and take care of something for my little dog. Okay, So A is the first thing I tried. And what I did was I took the tassel, detached it from the bottom, and then put it up on the top, hanging from the jump ring for the ear wire and the large loop. So that on that jump rope I had the ear wire, the large loop, and then the tassel in that order. So the tassel would sit in front of the loop. I didn't like that because it hid too much of the earring. And I still had that problem with imbalance. If I was going to do this, I was going to have to take the middle ear the middle dangle apart. So if I was going to take the middle dangle apart, then I was going to reverse this and make it an earring that I wanted in the first place, minus the tassel. Now, any one of these, depending on your taste, would be fine. Like I said, if I was going to put that tassel on, I would go ahead and make all 3 of them 2-step dangles. But let's carry on. All right, so this is what I decided to do. I'm not going to use the tassel. Didn't know what to do with it. I have picked up one of the hens. That doesn't mean I'm not going to use the tassel in another piece. I already have it set out for something else. I'm putting on a 3mm spacer ball, and then 3 of the 11-ohs, like I have done on both of the outside, and another 3mm spacer ball right there. Now from there, I'm going to put on the red jasper, and then the picture jasper, and then the red jasper, and then a 3mm spacer ball. Now this is where it's a little different because I'm going from a reverse chevron to a chevron. And so for that one, I am going to put on 12 of the seed beads. And then I am going to end it with a 3mm spacer ball. And what you will find when I do this is that we have a regular chevron. So I'm trying to get it over here so that you can see the difference. Now this is my process. A lot of times I go ahead and make an earring ahead of time so that you can see exactly what is going on in so that you can see the finished product and not exactly what is going on for me to get to the finished product. But I wanted you to be able to see the process because any of the 3 would be a wonderful earring depending on what you like. But I have to sell what I like because in the end, I either sell it, I give it away, or I keep it for myself. And so I want to make something that I wouldn't mind wearing if it ends up staying at my house. So now I have gone ahead and I have closed up the loop for this. I'm going to go ahead and open up that poor little jump ring that's been opened up twice. And I'm going to put this in the middle. Now, when you have to add something in the middle after you've already added the 2 ends, divide it like you were parting your hair in the middle. And then that will end up in the middle of the ring, making sure that your ear wire is also in the middle. All right. And this is the finished product. And I will make the other one and I'll see you in just a minute. Now that feels balanced to me. And here I'm showing you, could I put it there? And that's what I was saying. There isn't anything wrong with that. And it looks beautiful. But I was looking for a simpler, cleaner look for this set. I have done a set of 3 different earrings in this very earthy look, and that was what I was looking for to go in my product. So here is the one we finished, or in my shop. Here is the one we finished. And what am I doing here? Oh, I know what I'm doing. So I added the tacked on this for you because I was using the round jump rings, and I ended up, when I put it back together, using the oval because they don't jump across each other. And here is the second earring, just like that. And I discovered that when I made the second earring, is that if I use the oval on this loop, they didn't try to cross over each other, and it kept it more where I wanted it to be. Thank you so much for joining me today in this beading adventure. I'll be sure to add pictures. You know, I hope you enjoy the process. Sometimes whenever things are an hour and a half long, I take out all the process. But when I have an opportunity to show you what I'm thinking, I like to leave it in because, you know, it would be a shame if you thought I was perfect. Oh my! But anyway, here is the finished product, and I just love them. They have such a beautiful, earthy tone to them, feel to them, and they really do remind me of the Southwest and our visit to Utah when we went into the Grand Canyon. I just love these earrings. In fact, I was telling my daughter, I have enough of this to make another pair, and now that I know what I'm going to do with it, I'm making a pair for me that can be clips. These are up in the shop at circleartdesigns.net, along with the other earrings I made this month, and I hope you stop and give us a look. God bless you. I hope you have an amazing beading adventure today of your own and a blessed weekend. Kathryn, handmade by Circle Art Designs. God bless y'all. Bye.